Hi everyone. First of all, I want to apologize a little bit about the video. I know the angle is a little bit strange. I'm kind of getting used to it myself. Normally I use a tripod. However, my tripod disappeared somewhere, and so I'm just using the phone. It's not exactly a selfie. The phone is resting on the computer, but here goes. Now, one of the things I want to really communicate strongly is the general importance of research in contemporary writing. That's number one. And number two, how important it is to be extremely concrete, specific, focused, and have a narrowed scope in all our writings. Now, I want to keep this kind of simple for now, and I'll give you examples. I will write up some instructions and guidelines for you, but I wanted you to see me and hear me, because as I was saying in my note to you this morning, one of the things that's gone on really in the last 10 or 12 years is that all middle-level employees research constantly. I would go so far to say, and I didn't write this, but I thought it, and I would go so far as to say that the distinguishing, or one of the distinguishing factors in the promotion trajectory of middle-level employees is the ability to do extremely high-quality research, and I want to add something to that, and like doing it and have a feel for doing it, because really what's going on here is the research shows one's engagement and curiosity about the work, and people to whom you write notice that immediately. It's one of the things that shows people that you're not just doing the minimum, you're not just following generic instructions, but you're on to something, and that you're really an engaged employee. Now, in the academic context, that means something really important. And I think this is also one of the areas where there's been a transition that has been made that a lot of people are not so clear about. Once again, keeping it very simple. In our class, the thing that I really don't want you to do is write generic papers. I don't want you to write about the United States. I don't want you to write about people. I don't want you to write about IT. I don't want you to write about trends in manufacturing, okay? Those are fine as your overarching topics. They're absolutely acceptable. However, in order to work on those topics in our class framework, you really need to narrow the scope. That is, keeping it simple for now. Not the United States, but New York. Not New York, but Queens. Not Queens, but a certain area or a certain social, economic, or political sector of Queens. Okay. The question is why? There's many reasons for this. For our purposes, just let me say, the point that I want to make is that if you're trying to write these really, really broad papers, it's almost impossible to write without overgeneralizing. It also is very vexing and very tedious for most readers, because they'll start to ask questions, saying the United States, and what they will think is that, oh yes, maybe that's true for where that person is, but not where I am. And you'll constantly have problems. Now, the people that you're working with and responding to will inevitably think the same thing. I mean, to put it kind of crudely, they'll think you're lazy. They'll think you're not doing the concrete, hard work of really understanding these topics. You're kind of just doing blah, 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 blah. The other thing is, another very important point is that, once upon a time, I think research was difficult. You had to either, go to the NYU library, go to the Library of Congress. You had to really put yourself out to do even basic research. Now, obviously, All research tools are online. And this means that, especially in high stakes employment, you can be sure that when people read your reports or even your relatively simple communication, they're really well informed and they have taken the trouble to look carefully at the research. And just as I said, the criterion for advancement, promotion, and evolution in the job tends to be writing and research and engagement in these fields. It is for the people that you're writing to as well, and they will, as they scrutinize your work, they'll say, well, the people in New York or the people in Washington, they were not aware of what's going on in Shanghai. They're not aware of what's going on in Paris. They're not aware of what the Italians are doing. Okay, and quite frankly, then they will just find someone who knows about this. Okay, so the conclusion that I want to draw right now is you want, throughout this class, narrow the scope of your paper, do the background research, and become accustomed to looking beneath the surface. Now, there is a sort of companion video that I want to make about this and how one does this, but I'll do that the next time because I really try to keep these videos kind of short. Okay, usually I try to keep them 3 to 4 minutes because it tends to be a drag. Okay, thank you very much, and take your time looking at this. There's no rush.